What's up, everybody? It's me and Jamal. Hey, it looks like my internet is down. I'm going to have to go fix that real fast and grab headphones real fast as well. Okay, be right back. Sorry, Jamal. I can't hear you right now either. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, everybody. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was
my
very
internet
unlucky.
is booting up, but that was my mic. Where are my headphones at? Frick. Okay. All right. Stop cam. Enter studio. I was not expecting this unmitigated disaster, but here we are. All right. So. Should be my headphones. All right. This is bad. Why is this not working? Hello. Crap mothers. All right. So we're just gonna have to do it this way. I need my other headphones now. Freaking A. This is annoying. Oh, that's why, actually. Hello. Jamal, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Freaking A. Still messing up on my side. I apologize, people. This is ridiculous. Now I gotta
Yeah, that
figure out
was
where my
timing.
headphones are. All right. I'm just gonna shut this off. All right, Jamal, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
All right, I can hear you. Is there any echo on Jamal? Since I've got him coming through my screen as well.
Yeah, I checked. There's no echo right now.
All right, good. All right, so that's 4 minutes of 40. I don't understand. It worked perfectly fine yesterday when we tried it.
Yeah, then it just flopped as soon as you went live.
This is my life with electronics. I do everything the exact same way, and it just messes up like crazy. Yeah. So Jamal, how's it going?
It's going just fine. Not really anything interesting happened today, so I'm just chilling.
That's good. I mean, if nothing interesting means nothing bad, it's probably good.
Yeah, it's good.
That's good. I'm gonna grab these journals right here. So Jamal doesn't have video because my FPS is like one. Oh, freaking A again. I did this last time. Let me. I'll be blank for 1 second. All right. I should fix it here in a second. If not, I'll exit and come back. Cappuccino says, "Yo, Sensei, happy news." After I said I wrote down that lucid dream and a false awakening, I actually recalled it so to its fullest. So that's good. Oh yeah, good dream. Nice. It's good to hear. So Jamal, tell us about yourself and your lucid dreaming.
All right, so I'm Jamal. I've been lucid dreaming since late 2020. Um, I don't really know what to say about myself. I'm from Finland, or well, born in Estonia. Later moved to Finland, and yeah, I just like dreaming.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Liking dreaming.
yeah.
How long have you been dreaming for? How effective has it been? Like how effective is like what you've been doing?
I've been dreaming for a year and a half, like coming to two, and it's been going pretty good. Um, I think I had a natural ability to, you know, I guess I'm alone. All right, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix my
Yeah,
FPS.
yeah, I was just explaining, and then I just saw you disappear. Yeah, I think your mic, I mean, your cam looks pretty good now, so it's all set.
Yay. Freaking A.
So
Hate
yeah,
hate technical difficulties.
it's been pretty effective. I think I'd say I probably have like I probably had like more natural ability than most people, at least in the start, because it didn't take me long whatsoever to be able to get lucid basically like every other night.
Yeah.
Um, but I think definitely what played into it was the fact that I was just so interested in dreams, and also a lucid dream got me into lucid dreaming, so I kind of had a head start there. You know, because most people they hear about lucid dreaming and they're like, "Wow, this sounds cool," but for me, it was like I get to experience it firsthand, and that's what like catapulted me into the hobby. So yeah.
Nice. That's pretty cool. So, you've been lucid dreaming for about a year, and what was it? It was like 2 months ago. When did you start the like effective journal?
I started it. Yeah, it was like 2 months ago. I think it was. Yeah, it was like almost 2 months ago, like 1.5 months, I think.
Almost 2 months ago, right? And
Yeah,
since like you've had success with lucid dreaming, like
yeah.
why exactly did you want to do the lucid journal? Like I know we talked about it like whenever I explained it to you, but now we're explaining it to everybody else.
Um, I just wanted to. I always felt like I had decent recall, but I had it stuck for a while, and I just wanted to find a new fun and different way to do things because I felt like it was kind of weird. I was just journaling whatever, like I was just journaling always, like everything that came to mind. And that's kind of a bad system because, if you don't remember a lot, then you're going to journal you're going to practice like a low amount. But if you remember a lot, that's going to make you practice a lot. And it's inconsistent and it doesn't work well. And sometimes you don't feel like journaling because like there's like, you remember like so many dreams and like there's like so much text and it takes you like forever and it's not really that worth it. It's pretty diminishing. So I felt like I need to do something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was like a little bit was like the need to change and a need for something like more consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I always like that. So like whenever I first started lucid dreaming, I just had like a certain amount of time. I would wake up and I would journal for like 30 minutes, and I thought it was an all right system, but the problem with it was like what happens if I wake up late? What happens if like there's just so many things that could get in my way. and 30 minutes is not always like doable. And so whenever I started doing the effective journal, whenever I created that, it was super nice because it was like a page is like, I don't know, it doesn't take like the longest amount of time. I think
Yeah,
that that's one of the benefits. It's like you actually have like a detailed dream or two or three or four, like in there, and it just doesn't take that long. Yeah. Let's see. There were a lot of things that I like added in to the original one. So like this right here was like my original one. You got pictures of this, but everybody else has not seen this. Um, but yeah, I apologize for all the noise in the background. It's I have in-laws here, and my wife is home from work, and so there's just a lot of things and people in my house. Usually, I have the kids like one kid's playing video games and one's in bed.
it's actually pretty quiet now. I don't really hear it.
Oh, really, dude? It is so loud over here. That's crazy. Lusitania says, also what to do if you have memory problems, which means sometimes you just cannot remember dreams. Lusitania, did you not watch the video? I'm just kidding. I'm not like, but what I say to do in the video and what I recommend is go back to the previous night's dreams and think about them and then just rewrite them, like in either in new words or like reread it and rewrite it, or even just try to pull it from memory. Either way, you're still like stretching your memory. You didn't watch the video, Lusitania? I don't know why
Wow.
you're like this. Yeah. So Jamal, have you had any nights without dreams? Are you pretty consistent dream recall?
I think I don't think I ever have nights without dreams unless I don't go to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's been like a thing for a while now. Like
Oh,
like if I have a night without dreams, it's gonna be really like it's gonna be really weird. If
yeah.
I sleep a normal amount of time, even if I have like bad sleeping habit, it just usually doesn't happen.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's so weird to me. Like I remember one time, it was like a few years ago. Like I woke up, and I think I'd been sick or something. But like I woke up and I didn't have any dreams, and I was like, what just happened?"
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
was so confused. Yeah. So like if you look at this, I thought this was pretty funny because like you can see like this day is a pretty normal day where I wrote. This was like September, what is this? 27th and 28th, like 5 years ago. And then the next day I had all these dreams I wanted to write. So I just literally like wrote around the outside of the page.
I've done that as well.
Yeah, like I need more room. And Jonah asks if it's a video I recently made. Yes, it's titled Dream Journal Suck. So it talks about basically what's wrong with dream journals and why I changed it to where I could have like a better dream journal system. Yeah. So, do you think your recall has gotten better or worse, or has it just been more consistent? Or tell me
Yeah,
about it.
I'm honestly surprised because I think my recall has gone up, and it's weird because I'm only journaling one page, versus
Yeah.
before I could go on for like 5 pages, but
Mm,
obviously I'd be less inconsistent with it, and it will also feel more like a chore, because now I
yeah.
feel like I actually want to do it. It's fun, it's engaging, and it's just enjoyable, and it's not a problem to not do it. Like before, I would have problems to do it if I like because you know if you have to write like 10 pages of text, like sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you're just kind of like getting the words out there. So you're like, oh my gosh, and then I did this, and I did this, and I did this.
yeah, and yeah, exactly. And if you have one page, you also like try to you know you try to write it differently because you have a limited space, so you're trying to make sure you can make the best out of that limited space.
Right. You're focusing a lot more on what you are writing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I like I like the way it is, and I also think it works great because of like if people have bad recall, then it's like, well, then you just like either rewrite old dreams or like like you actually have to fill up the page either way. So
Yeah.
like I don't think it sounds like filling up one page is never really a problem for you. Um, but yeah, it's like It's like I like that idea that it's just like, no, this is it. Like it's just one page. It's consistent. Um, it's helpful. You know it works too. Like a lot of times, I feel like if especially when you're writing down like 5 pages, it's like, at what point is this like no longer effective? Like when is this like a chore?
Yeah,
When is this like not really helping my recall? You're like, oh, it's just one page and it's helping my recall for sure.
yeah.
Man, I just cannot sit in the middle of this. My mind keeps putting me. There we go. Yeah. So, yeah. Have you had any? Has there been any negatives from it? I know. Did you always write by hand, or did you before that? Did you
Uh,
write online?
so at first I did write on hand, but once I got my recall high enough, it was really like hard because I was using the old system. I was just writing everything, so it was really difficult to write by hand because I write like 4 or 5 times faster on my computer.
Right.
So I use my computer, but obviously using your computer as a journal has many problems. You actually have to get up, you know, get dressed, go on the computer, get it running, and then you can journal. Versus if you have a physical journal, you can just open it right there when you're sleeping, when you're laying down in bed, and boom, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you obviously don't have a phone, so you
yeah,
can't journal on that.
yeah. And I don't like journaling on the phone. I actually used to hate journaling on paper, but
Hmm.
that wasn't because it was on paper. That was because it's hard to you know produce a lot of volume on paper. It gets like tiring and stuff. But now, yeah, you know I love journaling on paper. It's like, in my opinion, it's just like the best way to do it for me personally.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know how it would work for other people if
Yeah,
they did it with that, because like I don't have like a big group. Like I originally did it on paper and then I switched to computer for a bit and then I just kind of stopped, and I switched over to a different system. This one was better, but it also like I kind of felt like, let's see, I felt like it was to get me to like a certain point, and then after I got to that point I was like, oh, I can even lower it down a little bit to where I'm not doing even a page a day as long as my recall stays that high.
yeah.
But
So it's like a maintenance thing.
yeah, yeah. And like when I originally did it, I told you about this before. Like, so I was at a point where like I had like I'd have lucid dreams, but they were so like vague. Like it was like I'd wake up the next morning and I'd remember them. And I'd remember that I was like been there, but it was like my recall of it was so bad. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm like, I am 100% going to recall for 3 months. So I made this thing. I put 3 months in it. And I'm like, I'm at least going to dream journal one page every day. And as soon as I started writing in it, all of my lucid dreams disappeared, which was crazy. It was like, and so I spent, and I had like a couple thousand lucid dreams at this time. And I spent like 19 days without a lucid dream and just building my recall back up. So yeah, it was weird. But then after that, by the end of the first month, I started getting my normal frequency back up. It was just crazy. But then I had my normal frequency, but I also had really good lucid dreams instead of really vague ones. We got a few questions from Lusitania and Jonah Harrow. I've never heard of Jonah Harrow, but Lusitania says, "Is it possible to have a hub where you store memories, but they're like in your dream to remember dreams?" Yes, but I think there's always going to be a point where you don't know if it's a dream memory or if it's a fake memory of a dream, and so you're not sure if you're going to trust yourself on that one. I'd say it's probably going to be like a mixture of both, and so you kind of have to decide whether or not you want to accept that like problem there. And Jonah says, "Is it worse to dream journal digitally? I use my phone, but I won't don't want it to hurt my recall." Oh, it's cappuccino. Okay. I got you. I was like, just like it was weird because you were acting like you've been here before. I was like, oh, it's the new guy. It seems really comfortable. But now it's cappuccino. I got you. Yeah, there's been a lot of people saying that writing down on paper is better. There might be some studies that show that for the most part, but I'd say the difference is probably like negligible if you're doing it. um, it's probably going to be it's probably going to be better for you to do whichever one you can do consistently than to force yourself to do one that's harder for you. Now, if you can, I would recommend on paper because I actually like. I think that even though there's a small difference, I think it's nice to have that away from the phone and all that. But if you can't do it on paper, or if writing takes that much more time, then I think on the computer you're still going to see a notable difference.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
It's like if if it's between the fact that you use your phone, um, but you're gonna journal versus using a journal, but you're not really gonna, because it's like even if the difference is like, there's maybe a small difference, but it's not gonna be worth it if you're gonna journal less with the journal, the physical one, because if you don't like doing it, then you shouldn't do it.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Lusitania said they don't think there's a study, just use blue light filter. So there's not a study for dream journaling specifically, but they've done a lot of studies for like journaling and for memory. And writing things down seems to create a better link to memory in the long term. But I think it's going to be better just to, yeah, like it. You can only optimize so much. Like if I wanted to, I could spend every waking hour of my day doing like mild or sporadic awareness technique, like and just like literally or just meditating. And it's like this would be the best thing I could possibly do, and I'd be perfectly lucid all the time. But nobody has that time, so we have to like decide exactly how much time we want to put into these things, and where we can have little small things that's like, okay, well, I can't do this, but I can do this. At least if we're wanting to do this for a long time. I'm losing frames again. Oh, so yeah. Um, Jamal, how is your lucid frequency right now? Is it doing good?
Let's see. I think right now it's not as high as it has been, definitely not. But
Mm,
I think it's getting better, and I think that lately I've been finding um, better practices for myself to do, and being seeing some results. The last section, which is a 6 day section, I had 3 lucid dreams, which is an increase from the section before. I had one section that had 3 lucid dreams as well this month. So it's not the highest I've had, but it's going up. And also the fact that I've noticed that my lucid dream quality in general has been going up with it. So that's also a very nice thing.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think that the sections it really helps a lot because like a lot of times people they're focused so much on like the last like 2 or 3 days. So if they haven't had like a lucid dream in 2 or 3 days, they're like, oh my gosh, like my lucid dreaming is doing terrible. But if you have it like broken into sections, it's like, oh, like I'm still in this section and I just like I need like a lucid dream before the end of the section and I'll hit like my quota.
Yeah, that's funny because like there is a lot of variance, when it comes to this stuff. Even if you're like doing everything consistently, there's gonna be sections or like weeks where you just have less lucid dreams, and there's gonna be weeks where you just have more lucid dreams. That's just natural. That's just how things are. They
Oh
go
yeah,
up and down. They don't just stay at a fixed line.
right.
Obviously, long term you can, it's gonna be consistent, but short term there's always gonna be variance.
Oh yeah, it's always gonna go up and down, and you can't like, yeah, you can't get too upset. Like I like writing down the stuff because like the I write down the goals and stuff because it's more like this is what I know I want, and it's okay if I don't get it, but I'd like to like see like where I'm at exactly. And like this right here for April, I love this because you probably dealt with this because I think I started this one around the same time you started yours. I didn't even write in it. I literally just wrote it out as like an example, and I knew I was gonna probably use it for a video. And then I did April, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love whenever you can have just 5 6 day sections in 1 month.
Yeah, it's so clean.
Yeah, it's like, oh yes, it's beautiful. And I still think like one of the biggest things about this is it just shows people like it shows people how consistent they actually are because a lot of times when people start they have this idea that they're like, oh no, I do it every night. And then when you actually like look at their dream journals and look at the dates, it's like, no, you missed like 3 nights last week. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It happens a lot when people don't really have something to, see the whole picture. They like, assume that it's, going differently than it actually is. It's
yeah,
so easy to just see like you can have a whole like overview of the months and you can like see like all right, what's happening.
right. Yeah. Man, I'm probably gonna have to get like better internet at some point. All right, I'm gonna go blank for like 1 second. I gotta grab something on
Right.
my phone. I mean, I can still talk. I'm just gonna
Blank.
connect to my internet and hope it's. I'm back. And I'm frozen. Alrighty. So let's see what we got. So we said, oh, it's Corin said, did you or Jamal ever have a dream that you wrote down in your journal on the night, maybe while performing mild, and didn't remember at all in the morning? No reason. I'm just interested. So you can answer that one if you want.
Yeah, let me just reread it real quick.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I think with tags, I've had like a few times where I like look at the tag and it's like what is this, But that's just because I think it's more because I just did a horrible job at tagging the dream, to be honest.
Mm.
I've never journaled a dream that's been more than a few sentences and forgot it in the morning because it's at the time where you journal it, it's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever I first started tags, because like I was just like there wasn't anything online that said like, hey, write down things during the night. Like I was like, oh, maybe I'm like every time I remember a dream, like I should like every time I wake up during the night, I remember a dream. So maybe I should try waking up multiple times. And then I think I actually saw something from Mizik that said, hey, write down stuff during the night. I didn't even have a chance to read it. And so I left my notebook down and I woke up the next morning and there was literally just scribbles like all over like one page. And I was like,
Relatable.
okay, got to do better. And another time it was like one word. It was just like envelope. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh man, I probably have some funny tags laying around.
Yeah. That was when I created, because I had the micro wake back to bed thread, which is like, it was already a thing where people were waking up during the night. But then I tried to say like, you need to like write down like a person, place, and a thing. So you have like an image in your head of what's happening for tags.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lusitania says, my lucid dream frequency has gone up. They're all short and controlless, and I can't seem to gain control over them. So you're like in the dream trying to control them. Like you're present and aware, but you just can't control them, Lusitania. I forgot to take like the time off of this, so it's gonna take him like a minute to respond. Um and Cappuccino's going to the gym, still be listening. So we can make fun of Cappuccino if we want to. He cannot respond. And Lusitania said we're talking about how LeBurge is great. I wrote something at 3 a.m. last night in the dark, and in the morning it was all ooga booga. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Um, and Darian says you really need to write down the whole dream because I only write short sentences and keywords of the dream I had. So, Darian, we're talking today about like this is a dream journal system. So like most dream journal things basically say wake up in the morning and write down every single thing you remember. It doesn't matter if it takes like an hour, just do it. And so like that is the general consensus among like most lucid dreaming experts. It's just write down everything. It's like, man, if I wrote down everything, I could write for an hour. So what I did was I said, hey, take a book, plan out a whole month ahead or 3 months ahead, and try to write down one whole page, like just one page. And if you don't have any recall, write down the previous day. And if you only remember a little bit, at least fill up that page. And so then you have like a good, like consistent amount of work that you're putting in every single day. And I mean, it's like working out. If you're just going to the gym and you're like you go to the gym like once a week and you write down like as much as or not right, and you work out as like hard as you possibly can, and you don't go to the gym again the rest of the week, you're not really going to get much stronger. You're just going to get tired. But if you just go to the gym every day and exercise every day, you're going to get stronger and you're going to get healthier. 5 seconds and they're controlless. That's interesting. I'm confused about what you mean by controlless. So like you'll try to do a control and it won't work, or like you can't even move your body.
Yeah, control is weird because like even if you like walk in the dream, you're basically doing control. So.
Right, you're changing like the entire like scene of the dreamscape just by moving.
Yeah.
You can fly and stuff, but you just don't want to, Lusitania. So you're struggling with certain controls. So you can do some control, but like not others, I guess. And Sealed Orion or Sealed Onion says same thing. And when I try to become Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos, it doesn't work. Okay, so you're trying to transform. Okay. So you're trying you're trying to do specific controls and they're not working. Jamal, you've used some control. What do you usually do when something doesn't work?
I usually just try to find different ways to do it, but it's it's if there is something specific that doesn't work, then I just try to like do different stuff like until it does work. Kind of like brute force it in a way. Um, try different systems. Play with your um, connections in your brain and stuff. Figure out why it doesn't work. You can make a reason for it. It doesn't have to be a legitimate reason, but as long as it's a reason, then it does work. But these things take time. Usually, it's not. No one is going to go into a lucid dream and have perfect control. But the easiest way to address these control issues is to just get good enough frequency. Because if you're trying to work on your dreams once a week, that isn't a lot of practice. You're not going to get far with that. You're not going to fix your issues quickly. But if you can work on them every single night, then sure enough, you're going to fix your issues much, much quicker.
Yeah, I agree with that. I remember like when I first started, I was talking to Hukif, and he was basically like, I wouldn't worry too, like, because I told him like I have trouble doing this or I have trouble doing this. He's like, oh, I wouldn't worry about it. Like I would just focus completely on like frequency, which might not be the best, but it worked for me. Like I put all of my focus and energy on frequency.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone should do. Like if you're getting lucid like once a week, you should not be worrying about things that are not going to plan in your lucid dreams.
Yeah,
Because there's always going to be like mental blocks and stuff that's not going to work, and you're not going to be able to address all of them if you get lucid a few times a month.
yeah, and I think there's also like a lot of pressure. Like if you only have like one lucid dream a week, and you get there, you're like, oh, I need to get this done. I need to do it right, and like right now.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
it's just like if you get high frequency, you can just like you're just like chill. You're like, oh well, I'll get lucid tomorrow. So if I struggle with this, I can, or I'll get lucid in 2 days. Like either way,
Yeah, like it doesn't matter. Like
yeah, it gives you a lot different. And like I'll try controls like all the time, and it won't work because I don't like to do things like there's like an easy way to do things that like Mizik talks about it, Red talks about it, where you can just kind of like control every single thing that's happening in the dream, and I don't like that. But it was like that was my first goal, was to try to get to that point, and I did it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is boring.
yeah, I think a lot of people agree with that it's because I think my control is pretty decent. um you know i've I've had like some things that are have been like difficult, but those haven't really been when I'm attempting specific control. Those have just been kind of spontaneous problems that have just uh happened. And it's like going blind, for example. Like that's just like what am I gonna do? I have no idea how to fix this issue. It just happens, and you're like, well,
Right.
you know time to try like a million different things.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that like the biggest thing for control is just like it's not even this idea of like I need to like there's obviously like a point where it's practice, but it's also like practice thinking and the way that dreams work. Because like I've gone blind before in dreams, and then someone told me, "Hey, just take your eyes out." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I took my eyes out, and I could see again because I'm not using my eyes. And so then I was like, "Okay." And then like another time, somebody was like holding me, and I couldn't move in the dream. And so my mind was like, "Oh, I don't need this body. Like I can just leave it because it's not really my body." And I just kind of like floated away, and the person that was there like kept a hold of my body. So like the more things that you do over time, you're just gonna like have ideas of how to exactly do it.
Yeah, I've done the take your eyes out thing. It's pretty it's pretty funny.
Yeah. It's so funny because people are like, wait, take your eyes out. That's painful. I'm like, why would it be painful? Those aren't my eyes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like you just sort of with time develop this sort of intuition of sort, where you have these sort of ideas,
Yeah.
and they, I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. And so like it's so funny to me because like people like I've talked to people before that they're like, what do I do if I feel pain in a dream? And I'm like, oh, just like open up a menu and turn pain off. And they're like, well, what if that doesn't work? And I'm like, I don't like, I can't like there's always a chance that nothing I say is gonna work. So you just like you gotta kind of just keep going, and it's gonna
Yeah,
mean more to the people if they like try it first.
yeah, man, just figure it out.
Yeah. And Lusitania says, trying to achieve godhood in my dream. My dreams are not long or controllable enough to be one. Yeah. So if there's like a goal and it seems really big, and I say seems because like every dream control is like small and every dream control is like really big. Like I could explain a dream control in a way that like even flying, right? You could say, "Oh, I'm flying." It's like, no, no, no. You're just manipulating the entire universe to move around you in the way that you want it to. It's like that sounds like a big control, but it's just flying. So you can either like try to break it down and make it think like it's a small thing, or it's an easily controllable thing, or you can just break it into pieces that seem controllable. Like if you want to, like for instance, you said you want to go to like B Nyarlathotep from like the H.P. Lovecraft mythos. So maybe like the first thing to do would just be to go and like try to summon a character from H.P. Lovecraft mythos, or try to get like the silver key from the H.P. Lovecraft mythos, something like that, so that you can start engaging with like that area and start seeing your dreams as like a place that would happen easily. All right, and then Jonah says, "Whew." Jonah says a lot. I like the dream to run on autopilot where you control what you want, the rest runs like it should. If you do something catastrophic, it shows. If you do something small, it had a lesser effect. If you ever had an LD where everyone knows you're dreaming like it's a common occurrence, they just see you as another one of them. So I did not realize those were going to be two separate things. So yeah, like I generally prefer that as well, where like, well, that's what persistent realms are generally like. It's like I'm controlling me, um, but like the rest of the world seems like it's not part of me, even though it technically is. And then Jamal, I'm gonna make you answer this. Have you ever had an LD where everyone knows you're dreaming, and it's like common?
Hmm. Um, kind of, but not really.
Hmm, I gotcha.
I've had lucid dreams where someone's literally hijacked my dream, quote unquote dream guide, just like hijacked my dream and made me basically think that I'm not a lucid dreamer. Well, I didn't fall for it, but that's what he was trying to achieve.
Yeah. Oh, you got muted. Oh,
Yeah,
you're back.
sorry. There's some background stuff going on.
I gotcha. It's
So yeah,
the Russians again.
yeah, it's the Russians, like they're invading, but it's all good. It's just everyday life.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, I've had, it's not really ever been where everyone kind of sees me, where everyone kind of sees me as them, like in the sense that they're all collectively like those dreamers. But it's been just more like some dream characters here and there try to
Yeah.
stop me from lucid dreaming.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I have most of my dreams are in Zoja, and so like the consistent or the persistent characters know that they're in a dream, and they see me like they are. But the rest of the people are like just different levels of like stupid.
Yeah.
And so you just run into that a lot in dreams. But it's so funny. Like I have this idea. Like, have you seen Truman Show?
I don't think I have now.
Oh man, it's good. The premise of it is that like Jim Carrey's this guy named Truman, and since he was a kid, he's literally been on a TV show, and everyone knows but him. So he lives in this like little city, and everywhere there's cameras, and they follow him, and everyone in the world watches it. But he doesn't know it exists, and all the people in the city know that he's the main character. So that's what like I think of whenever people say like random things with dream characters. I'm like, what if all the dream characters are just like acting, and they're like, don't tell him, don't tell him. I even like I talked to Hookif the other day, and I was like trying to like I don't want to say like give him like bad schema, but I was just basically like, what if all of your dream characters are like way stronger than you, and they're just pretending that they're weak so that you feel bad? Oh,
It's pretty funny.
yeah. I don't know. I love those things that can just like flip it like in a dream, like that could change like instantly. Like it just be like, oh no, everybody knows except for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, so Lusitania's heading out. All right, I'm gonna head out. I'll explain Jamal, Lusitania, Jamal. I don't know what that means, but I will talk to you later, Lusitania. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah. So I think there were a couple of things that I like left out of the video that I'll explain now, just so that like the 7 people watching and Jamal, but though Jamal already knows, um, can can see because I just think they didn't quite make it into the video because like I recorded like 20 minutes of video and I edited it, so I lost so much of my talking. I think I skipped some things out. So like one of the things was like for each week, or I call them weeks, but they're like generally 5 or 6 days, sometimes 7 if it's February or like the end of the month. Then right there you write down your totals, like total amount of dreams, total amount of lucid dreams. And I like having it on this page as well, so that you can see each 6 days exactly how well you're doing. And then you have like solid numbers for how well you're doing instead of how you're feeling. Um, I also like to have one of the things I definitely told Jamal, I don't think I told anyone else, was like if you're wondering like what your goal should be for amount of lucids or amount of dreams, I think it should be one more than the previous week for those. Now dreams, it might be a little hard because like especially like if you're not consistently counting them, like if you don't have like a good idea of what a dream is, then one day you might have like 7 fragments and you might think of them all as dreams and it will throw off your count a lot. So
Yeah. I've
yeah.
been like really trying to, make sure that I can, consistently be able to count dreams. And the best way to do that is just wait back to beds. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like, well, I woke up here, so obviously the dream
yeah, like
ended.
obviously, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's difficult. So if I do end up having, if I, if I'm asleep for like 6 hours and I do end up having like, recollection of like two dreams, but if those have any connection whatsoever, I'm just going to call them a single dream. But if
Right.
they don't, and they are each, decently long, then I'm gonna, make the decision to call them each separate dream.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we used to have like competitions and things, and people were like, "What's the difference between a fragment and like a dream?" And like my mind was always like, "Oh, if it's like less than like a minute, I'd call it a fragment." And other people are like, "I never remember dream snippets longer than a fragment or than a minute." I'm like, "Oh man."
Yeah.
Like,
It's,
and then
it,
yeah, they were trying to say like fragment was like where you have like the impression of a dream, but you don't actually remember it. I was like, "Oh,
yeah. If I have like, yeah, I think the minute one is pretty good. I kind of agree with that.
yeah, yeah." I like the way that I thought when I was 21. I was a smart cookie.
I remember in the beginning, it was funny looking back because I was remembering out of dreams, but not really. It was just like five dreams that were actually a single dream. But
Oh
because I
yeah,
had poor recall, it's like they're all like fragmented and stuff. I'm like, oh damn, like let's go, like my recall is so good, like you know this and
yeah,
that. But then when I got more experience, there's a realization that in fact those were all a single dream.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
think
remember. Oh, sorry.
like
Continue.
no, I was just saying like you know most beginners probably have something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I started because like when I actually like first started, I had like something similar to the effective journal. At least like the goals part of it was written down. Like I was like, oh, I want this many this week, this many this week, and like I was like, it was just going up and up and up the number. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm having 8 dreams a night, and then it just started going down because I started remembering the connections between them. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh man.
yeah. And of course, back then, people were more like a little bit more, I don't want to say like spiritual, but like a little more spoopy with it because they were like, oh, well, we don't know how many dreams you have per night because uh, you might have like 3 dreams in one REM and they might be like time delayed. And so, you could have like 50 dreams in a night and just, you only remember 3. And so I'm like, I don't know if this is true.
Uh, yeah, I would have messed with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it got like to a point where people were like, there's just you can always remember more dreams. Like it's impossible to remember all the night's dreams. And then like when I started talking with Hukif and Oreo and Naya and then Mizik, I was like, oh, they all have like 5 to 8 dreams a night, depending on how much they sleep. Like that seems like that seems to be like the max. Like I can't get 8 dreams. I cannot get 8 dreams in a night unless I sleep in. If I get like 10 hours of sleep, I can get 8 dreams. Or if I like force myself to wake up too many times. Like I'd have to like spoof the numbers a little bit to get 8 dreams.
Yeah, you do like 20 wake back to bed or something,
Yeah,
and just call everything you experience a dream.
right. That's like I felt some sensations while I was falling asleep. That was definitely a dream.
Yep, 37 dreams last night. Let's go.
Yeah, what's up? I don't know why everyone else sucks so bad at this dream recall thing.
Yeah, man. Like, damn, they're not
Yeah,
even like double digits.
right. You're not in the big leagues, so you double digit every night.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, and like I always tell people, and they get super like I'm. There's something that I tell people, and I know it's gonna like make them like sad a little bit, but it makes them like think about lucid dreaming differently. And one of them is I tell people that they should be experiencing 4 dreams a night if they want to get consistent lucid dreams. But like even with that, I'm not talking about like what I would consider dreams. I mean like 4 fragments.
Yeah.
And so I'm like you start seeing like 4 fragments. And so it's like if you have like a really long dream, I don't know how to count that for that whole thing, but a lot of people they're just like they're experiencing like 2 fragments a night and they're like, I got all these. They're like, my recall's great. And I'm like, dude, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of beginners also say like, I remember everything, or like,
Yeah.
I remember my dream.
Oh
Like,
man.
okay,
I just
so
asked
how
them
many?
like, how did it
How much?
start?
Yeah, or like, so how much you get lucid? I had like 2 lucid, but I
Yeah.
remember everything.
I remember everything. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's like Red, who's just like the exact like it's so hard for me to quantify like his stuff because he'll be like, yeah, like he's like it's so much stuff happens in a night, so I don't really remember all of it. But like he'll wake himself up like an hour after he sleeps, and he'll be like, yeah, I was just like in a lucid dream. It's like, but if I had like slept through the night, I wouldn't have remembered it. It's like, freaking, hey man, you throw off all of my waking up stuff, all of my count stuff. He just kind of like is always lucid, and like he just doesn't like have amazing, like he has good recall, but not like amazing. Like he has what I would consider good recall, but not to the point where it's like he remembers the whole night. It's crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah, he's an interesting fella.
for sure.
Yeah, them naturals, man, they really throw me off on how to qualify things.
Quantifying dreams is hard, like on its own. We got these damn naturals coming in.
Yeah, Yeah, and then like there was a time where I started just like I was doing wild all the time, and I was like, I have no idea anymore, like what I'm doing. I'm like, I would have like 4 wilds every afternoon. I would just lay down and go to sleep, and I would wild for 15 minutes, and then I'd just like wake up at the end of 15 minutes, and then I would go back to sleep again, and I would wake up after 15 minutes, and like I was like, this is so weird. So I'd have like 5 or 6 dreams at night, but then I'd have 4 dreams every single afternoon. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, the count means nothing now. Like, none of these things matter now.
Yeah.
Oh, those were crazy times, though. I can't believe I used to have an hour every single day that I could sleep. That's a nuts time.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. Oh man. So what like what do you think your future for lucid dreaming is? What are your plans in dreams and out?
Plans. I don't I don't have any like huge long-term goals. You know, I just want to get better. You know, I just want to
Yeah,
get more lucid dreams. That's it. Get
I
them
got
more frequently. Get them more consistently. You know, be consistent with practice. I
you.
think
Yeah.
if I, you know, if I practice every day consistently, I think I'll be pretty well off. Like I've been, you know, since I started Effective Journal, I don't think I've ever been this consistent. Even
Yeah.
though I've, you know, I've had months with a lot more frequency, but I think now having consistency, I'm slowly building up frequency again, and it's gonna surpass the highest frequency I ever had.
That's good. Yeah, and I feel like like with things like the effective journal, with things like in the past, like you had like higher frequency. I think that one of the things is like you'll have like higher highs sometimes with things like that, with like inconsistent work, and then you'll have lower lows. So it's like it's a lot harder to keep going, like
Yeah,
every day. Like
yeah,
it's
I
just
agree. That's true.
yeah. So, but then of course, you can always build up to the level of those higher highs and just stay there because you actually built it up there.
Yeah, exactly. Like you know, you're just building up the consistency, and if you build up your consistency, eventually your frequency is going to catch up. But this time, it's much more stable. It's much more solid than you know through inconsistent practice.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something like I found is so weird for like for the longest time when I was talking to Hukif, it blew my mind that every night he would go to sleep and have a lucid dream. Like even the fact that like I know he knew he had like multiples a night, but like every night it was just like I'm like it's so random about whether or not I have a lucid dream, but he just like knows that he's definitely gonna have one every night. Like that kind of like it freaked me out a little bit. I'm like every time like because I would talk to him every day. So it's like in between every single time we talk, this guy is like lucid dreaming. Like that's insane.
Yeah,
Uh, but that's the consistency that you just have to build up over time. It's crazy.
yeah.
Yep, yep. Um, I don't know if anybody has questions. There's 6 people watching, so I'll give them a few minutes for questions. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about, Jamal?
Uh, wait, I actually have to do something IRL. So like, give me 2 minutes. Just
Two
2 minutes.
minutes. All
Yeah.
right, sounds good. I'll
All
just
right.
entertain people with my body.
Yeah. For sure.
Oh, all right. Now Jamal's gone. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this journal. Um, so there's a few extra like tidbits and things I like to put in here. One thing is I started this like halfway through, but I would put like a dot next to. It's hard to. I put like a dot next to every dream, so that after I wrote it down, I'd be able to just count the dots. That was just like quality of life type thing.
Guess who's back?
Back again.
That was the fastest 2 minutes of your life.
That's true. It only took 60 seconds, and Jamal is. Wait a minute. Where you're at is 60 seconds, 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's how like Finland works.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like actually like, are you actually double your age or half your
Yeah,
age?
I'm actually like, yeah, I'm
Oh,
old.
you're old. You're old like me.
Yeah, I'm like 8 years older than you.
Oh man, that would be weird. Oh.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Oh. So yeah, you got anything else you want to talk about? Nobody's asking questions. There's usually like just people that just chill. I don't know why.
That just chill. Yeah, there's a lot of like stalkers.
Yeah,
It's the same with Discord as well. There's a lot of people that don't talk but lurk around the corners.
yeah. It's Corin says you're using time dilation, dude. That's why you're like that's why my lucid dreams are longer. Is because for me 2 minutes is 120 seconds.
Yeah,
For you it's
exactly.
only 60 seconds.
So that's why my recall is like so good as well.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm really trying to work on recall at the moment.
Yeah.
Been lately getting natural wake back to beds. So that's been pretty good.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like those like you can force them, but like if they just come from better recall, then it's super helpful.
yeah. I think for like 6 days now, I've had in a row. I had natural wake back to beds, and most nights it's been more than one. It's been like 2 to 3, so that's been really nice.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice to hear. Yeah,
I,
like I love that whenever you just kind of like you fall asleep and you're like, I know that I'm not gonna like wake up to my alarm in the morning. I'm just gonna wake up and just have all sorts
yeah.
of good things. We'll see. We have Hithlo says, is dream journaling as needed for wild and mild and siled and so on? Um, so I've answered this a few times, like, and it's this weird like not like I give weird like not helpful answers sometimes. I'd say dream journaling is extremely useful and it will like help you more than almost everything else, but it's not needed. So like the idea of needed is really hard
Yeah.
because yeah, the way it works. Like I could just never dream journal again and I could have some lucid dreams, but it's going to be an easier route to dream journal. And if you're looking for like so me and DJ both did two different streams. One he did which was about like don't dream journal anymore and mine was here's a better way to dream journal. But either way, I wouldn't recommend doing like a straight up dream journal. I would recommend either checking out what he's doing or checking out the effective journal.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. I think the generalized version of dream journaling that you just wake up and write everything is it's not good. Like it's gonna help you, like if you're not doing it, but there's just so many better ways, to do
yeah,
it that you really shouldn't do it. Because
right.
dreaming is, in my opinion, it's all about optimizing things, and you should just optimize your dream journal to the best of your ability because that's gonna give you a lot of fruits.
Yeah. It's Corin. I don't understand your question, so I'm going to need you to restate that while we answer this other one. And Darian says, Jamal, what techniques do you use?
So I've used mild basically since day one.
Mm,
Not day one, but like basically since day one. And it's always changing. Like the way I do it is always changing. I'm always trying to find a better way to do it. Um, I'd like to add something for mild. Like if you do something like mild, I highly recommend writing down how you do it. That
mm,
was very helpful to me because once I wrote something down and it worked and I got lucid, I just kept repeating that and I was like reaping the benefits. Like it was really like helping towards my mindset and like it was just really effective. So definitely if you do mild, write down what you're doing.
yeah. Yeah. It's like a save state. Like you're like, oh, like I already know that this works and I can just kind of leave it and go to other things, or I can just do this and it'll work. That's to some degree.
Yeah.
It's Corin says it wasn't really a question. I still don't understand it. I don't know what Dringend means. um, And then, of course, Bug Milk says to dream journal all the time. More recall, always good. In almost like a caveman sort of way, I imagine with Bug Milk, like more recall, always good. Dream journal now.
Yeah.
Uh,
What do you call it?
yeah, I mean, I can't do Bug Milk's voice. I don't have a manly enough voice.
Just like "Arrgh." It's like
Yeah,
zombie from Minecraft.
yeah.
Arrgh.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Bug Milk says, I still didn't watch DJ stream. Dude, watch DJ stream. Like seriously, he needs like he's like putting more. I don't want to say more effort into his streams, but he's like got better equipment. It looks better, and he's like got like all sorts of things set up for it. And it's really good content. You should definitely check it out. And you said it's Corin says I love Jamal's accent almost as much as my haircut, which I am getting my haircut again this week, so that'll be fun. And I'm getting my dog's haircut, so I'll be posting pictures of my freaking cute dog. I love it.
That's got a new fade.
Yeah. um, yeah. Oh man. So we've been on for an hour. We could probably talk for 5-10 more minutes if you're up for it, or we can end it now. What are you thinking?
I'm fine talking. I don't really have anything to do at the moment. I mean, I could go do something, but like, this is chill.
Yeah. Well, it's always chill with us, man. You know that.
Yeah, man. For
Of
sure.
course, I haven't been doing my midnight dog walking recently. Like
What's that?
Before, whenever I would like call and talk to you on Discord, I would be like walking my dog like all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hadn't had a Discord voice chat for a while, I think.
Yeah. I've been I've been working on something else during the night. So if I can't sleep, I've got something else I'm working on like pretty hard right now. And other than that, I've been like the dog has been like way more chill. I've been taking him on walks throughout the day. So like before, it was basically just like puppy problems that was keeping me up late at night.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a toddler, and I don't think anybody wants to talk to me on the phone with a toddler screaming in the background. So
yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh man. Yeah. Let's see. Do you have any persistent characters, items, or places? Have you ever been able to get something like that?
Persistent places. Well, I think the closest thing, to a persistent place is literally my home. I get lucid in my home a lot, like a lot. I think like if I look at like my latest, 20 lucids, probably like 15 of them were at my home.
Whoa, that is a
So
lot.
yeah, that's a lot. So yeah, that's probably the most. And it's funny because obviously my home, like my dreams are fairly normal-ish. Normal being compared to waking life, but I still have pretty wild dreams. But my home is always normal. Yeah, it's the place I get most lucid from, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I have theories about that. Basically, that like the closer your mind is to like your waking mind, the more likely your dream is going to be like a waking. It's going to be closer to waking life. So that means that like if your mind is, if you're like thinking like super clearly in the dream, then the dream will have like less weird inconsistencies, which is like almost unhelpful. But then like of course, like I work with dream incubation a lot. So I think that's one of the things that made lucid dreaming a lot easier for me. Like, so when I started having super normal dreams, and I'm like, I know how to dream incubate. I can like add super crazy things. So I started adding crazy things. I think that made it a lot easier for me to get lucid. Just being able to have insane dreams. But I think it was like 30 or 40 lucid dreams in, and I was just like, I like realized it was a dream, and I was like, oh yeah, like I would get lucid in these places where it was like there was nothing there, there were no people. It was just like a world with like no people and nothing exotic or crazy. And like I got lucid in this place, and I look across the way, and there's just like a velociraptor, and I'm like, oh. I was so excited.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. It was
I like chill places in dreams.
Yeah. Well, it was weird because like I remember one time because like I was in a competition, and one of the things was like fight somebody, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go fight somebody. And so like I realized it's a dream, and I like there's a fence, so I like seam through the fence, which seaming is like anytime you see like a line like this right here, even if it's like in a fence or it's like a corner in a wall, like I put my fingers in it, and then I like push myself through, and it doesn't seem to move it, but like it's like I just go through the seam, and I don't worry about how to get through it. And I ran into this room, and there's like a guy and a girl talking, and I just like punched the dude in the face. And he starts fighting me, and then like I think it was like a minute or so, and then I woke up.
No man.
But I was like, man, that was like more like assault than an actual fight. The poor dude was just chilling in his, like he was inside his house, and I like opened the back door, and I'm like, hello. Oh,
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
it always reminds me of like the Matrix. People are always like, look at this, like, oh, Neo's such a nice dude. It's like, man, as far as people know, he's just like coming through and like just straight up murdering people. And it's like, I'm your savior. Oh, like,
That,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, continue.
That fighting reminded me that like I've had I've had fights in Lucids, but I've beaten up people really bad, but they've never died. So I don't
Oh,
think I
really?
ever I've never like killed anyone except like I've thrown people to space and stuff, but like obviously like I I don't see like the final result, you know. But
Yeah.
like like I haven't like shot somebody in the head and their body is just there like dead. Like
Oh, yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, people are immortal in my dream.
Right. You can just like, you just have gallons and gallons of blood in your dreams. It just never stops flowing.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just usually like throw them out into space. That kind of solves my problem.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, Mizik asked me the other day, she's like, hey, how many people do you think you've killed in a dream? And I'm like, oh, that's like a hard question because like the other day there was like a boat of people that was like attacking me, and I just like sealed them into like a barrier, and then I collapsed the barrier so they like it just kind of like they were just like instantly gone. And I was like, I don't think that counts as like killing them. They're just like they don't exist anymore. So
Yeah, or
I was like, I
yeah,
think I've killed like watched like 25 people die in
yeah,
dreams, and
yeah. It's weird
most of them are anime.
because it's like if some people like to be like some I don't know giant titan flying in space, crushing planets, then
Right.
they could say like, oh, I've killed like unlimited amount of people. Like, I eat universes for breakfast, so like I'm obviously like I have the highest KD in the world. But like
Yeah.
actually like killed like in a way that you can actually like see the people
Yeah.
be dead and stuff. So
Yeah. And there was like there was a time
weird
like
measuring that.
I was playing Call of Duty all the time. So I like I was like playing the game, and this was like a non-lucid, but it was like I had a lot of lucids with Call of Duty as well. But it was like, man, do those count? Because I would be like respawning and like shooting people. It's like I'm getting like great KD in this game. It's like I don't think those count because it's like a video game. But then like one time I finished the level and everybody else logged out, and I was like in the video game and I was like, I don't know how to log out. So I'm like just standing in this empty level. I'm like, where do I go? Oh, that
Yeah,
was Miss Lucid, but it was pretty funny.
yeah. Getting lucid in games is pretty weird, to be honest. Like
Yeah,
when you're actually like playing,
yeah. Like, are
it's
you
so
saying
weird.
like when it's like VR or when it's like you're sitting there holding the controller?
Like, cause it's like, well, usually if I'm like sitting there, like playing on my computer, you know, I might be like sitting there, but like it like goes in and out of me sitting there and being inside the game and me sitting there, and it's like so confusing the journal in the morning because like I don't have any like solid timeline of when I was actually like in the game or when I was just sitting at my PC. So it's very weird.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's weird. And there's sometimes like I've played like side scrollers, and I'll be like pushing buttons, but I also have to jump at like the right time. And I'm like, this is so difficult. What is going on?
Oh
Oh,
man, yeah.
there was like one of the weirdest like games I played in a dream, which is actually where I bought my sword at. And I took it out of a game, or I'm not sure. It might have been at the mall. Like there was like a subset of like the mall there. The mall is like where I buy persistent items from persistent dream characters and stuff. But like so the game was like everyone. It was the game that everyone was talking about for like 3 nights. Like every dream character I talked to was like, "Are you playing the game? Like you need to go and play the game." And so it was like it was a world, and it was relatively small compared to like most like dream worlds, but it was just like it was a video game world, and there's no save state and there's no data. Like so when you go in, you're like your body, and you're just everybody's wearing like the same clothes, But if you want to keep something, you have to like hide it in the world. And it was just like a world. Like it wasn't there was no actual game part of it. So like people were like like starting clans, and they would have like people like they'd have like shifts so that people could guard their stuff. And it was so weird because it was just like a world without like rules and stuff like that. And I don't know, I was like in real life I'm like this would be a really boring game, but like in the dream everyone was super like interested in it. They're like we need to go down there, it's where my stuff is at. But there was like no inventory. It's so strange.
Yeah, there's games like that in real life, I think, or in the waking rather. It's
Yeah,
like,
like Second Life type stuff or something like that. But there's no work or anything. It was like everything was houses. It was I don't know. I think there are some games similar with no inventory, no save state, anything like that. You just kind of jump in. But it was so strange.
yeah,
Uh,
you look pretty strange out. You know,
yeah,
when you're thinking about it, you look like, whoa.
yeah. It's Corin says I get a lot of dreams in Clash Royale. It's pretty weird. Weird. That was also my first and only lucid. Nice, nice. Yeah, I love video game dreams. I think that's probably the easiest way. Like if you're having like super realistic dreams and you want to have like crazier dreams, like the Tetris effect is super well known. Just like literally get obsessed with the video game, play it a bunch, and you'll start seeing it in dreams.
Yeah, I've got lucid so many times, but playing video games.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love it, and like you get like I feel like you get like a tiny bit of practice with the video game as well while you're sleeping, even though it's like compared to how much you play in waking, it's just not that much, but it gives you like a new perspective.
that was actually fun. Like once I was like, like once I had a long dream about Counter Strike, and I hadn't played Counter Strike for like a week or maybe even two in waking. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I'm gonna hop on Counter Strike and see if I'm warmed up because I just had this dream. So like I wanted to test it out. And man, like I was not warmed up. Like
You got crushed. Oh, that's funny.
it was an interesting experiment nonetheless.
Yeah. Oh, all right, man. I think I gotta head off. It was nice talking to you.
All right.
I will see you around Omni Lucid.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, fun stream.
All right. Yeah, it was fun. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.